What's up, guys, and welcome back to Planners and Wine. My name is Megan.
And I am Myra, and Meg and I have been freaking working.
Yeah, yeah,
Literally
literally.
getting
Y'all
this
are
content
literally
out.
hearing this in the future because we're recording it literally like a few weeks in advance, which is something we never do.
Never. Yeah.
But
It just
it just
worked out
kind of
like
worked
that.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked out like that. But here we are, another week. How's everything going with you, Myra?
Everything so far is going well. I just realized when did we hop on the Zoom? Actually, that was Thursday, another day we were working. But anywho,
We've been working all
when
week and
we've been working all
Tuesday.
week. And Tuesday. Yeah,
Yep.
we have been working all week. But
Mhm.
I realized that our trip, because we are going to be able to see each other again. I'm super excited
Yes,
about that. But it's 2 weeks away and
it
I have
is.
done nothing.
It's crunch time. It's
It's
crunch time.
crunch time.
As y'all
Yeah.
are hearing this episode, we are on the trip. So,
Yes.
hopefully we have gotten the outfits figured out and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, I'm going through the exact same thing, Myra. I always wait until the last minute. That's why, it's as horrible as Amazon is, at least they will give you your things within a couple of days, which is literally when I need them. So, yeah.
They know it. They know it.
They know.
They said we got you in 2 days because we know you waited until 3 days before you supposed to leave.
Oh,
So we'll have it the day
just
before you
read my
leave.
life, Amazon. Read my
They
life.
know.
Oh my
They know
gosh.
it.
Right, exactly. But yeah, this episode is tons of fun. I am so excited for you guys to hear our guests that we have on this amazing. As y'all are hearing this for the regular listeners, not the patrons, it is Cinco de Mayo. How freaking fun is that? And we have the funnest guest ever for this episode. I love that for us. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
So hopefully y'all are somewhere drinking. We're probably in the airport drinking. Um, so
I don't get
have a
there
good
till really
time.
late. Yeah, I
Mm.
don't get to the airport till really late. So I
Mm-hmm.
probably won't be because I still gotta get where I'm need to. I I
So you're
have
gonna be
no clue what
drinking.
the hell.
Once we
What
see each other,
well,
we're gonna be drinking. So
yeah, once I get there, but on my way there I can't because I need to figure out where the hell I'm going.
that's true.
But
That's true.
and I don't know if it's gonna be super dark. Well, it might be because it's I'll get there after 10, so it'll be
Oh yeah,
dark.
it's gonna be dark
So
outside.
yeah, I probably
Mm-hmm.
won't drink just out of fear because
Until later.
yeah.
And until later. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, guys, so let's go ahead and get into it. So today we have our amazing friend Julie of Julie's Plans on the episode, and she is giving us a planner world history 101 lesson today.
Mhm.
And I love it because this is a lot of information that me and Myra didn't even know about. We didn't join
Mhm.
the community until 2018, 2019. So
Mhm.
Julie is literally throwing it all the way back to the very early days, 2013, 2014, when she joined and what that was like. And that was just a super, super fun conversation. And I'm so excited for y'all to hear it.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of jelly, but also not
I
really because
know. I know.
it was a little wild. But I would have liked to be privy to
Yep.
that. Yeah, I know. I think
Same.
we all felt that way. Like, dang, how did I not know this community existed before we got here? You know what
No
I mean?
matter when
So
you join, you
yeah,
feel like you
hmm
missed something. Unless you
yeah,
were really there at the very, very beginning. No matter when you
hmm
join, you definitely feel like, you missed something. But here we
yeah,
are now. And at least we have people like Julie, some one of the OGs who can give us the tea. And disclaimer, guys, for anybody else who may have been around from the early days of the planner community, Julie is speaking from her perspective. And
hmm
if your perspective is different, or if you recall things differently, that's fine and that's your perspective. But Julie don't need to hear about it in her DMs, and we don't need to either in ours. Like if you want to just give your take on like a certain situation or whatever from back in the day, that's one thing. But don't
yeah,
straight up come at like, oh no, wait, that didn't happen in 2015. That happened in 2017. Don't do all that. It's just not
yeah,
necessary. It's not that deep. We're
yes,
not taking the
yeah.
test on it. We don't need to know anything exactly. I'm just throwing that out there to protect our and Julie's peace. And to not do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think she had mentioned that too, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she appreciates the additional disclaimer too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is her point of view and her
Yeah.
opinion. Absolutely. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Have fun listening to Julie's episode, guys. And we will be back at the end to talk to y'all a little bit more. All right, guys. So we are back and we are here talking with our amazing friend, Julie's Plans. Julie, how are you?
Good. Glad to be here.
Yes, it's always
Yes,
fun
welcome back. It's
having you
been
on
a
the
while.
podcast. Right. It
It
I
has.
has been a
know.
while. Yeah, it has been a minute. It has been a minute. Yep.
Yeah. And I feel like we know you so much better now than the first time you were on the podcast. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, Julie, this amazing person in the community. Let's have her on the podcast. And now it's like our homegirl, Julie, coming on the
Yeah.
podcast. And I feel
I
really good
love
about
that.
that. I love
Me
it.
too. Me too. Yeah.
So today we're going to have a fun conversation with Julie about the history from her perspective of the planner community because as y'all know, Julie is an OG in these planner streets. She was here, she was literally with the planner community shooting in the gym. Like she knows probably 95% of the tea. Y'all not gonna get all that, but we are gonna do a deep dive into the history. So, I guess first, just in case there's anybody out there who is not familiar with you and your platform, what you do, Julie, go ahead and introduce yourself just a little bit.
Thank you. So I am Julie of Julie's Plans. Like literally all my platforms are named the same thing. So you can find me pretty much everywhere. Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube. I
Mm-hmm.
even have a website that's covered in cobwebs, but that's okay. But that's a whole
It's
other
there
thing.
though. It's there though.
Yes. Yeah. But I talk primarily about planning and organization and a little bit of lifestyle things in there. I do that by night and on weekends, and by day, I'm an HR professional. So I do kind
Mm,
of sprinkle in some work things from time to time as appropriate.
yes, as appropriate.
But yeah, most of the time you will find me just, making jokes about things, having fun, and just, not taking things too seriously because life is too short. So
Yes, it is.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Seriously.
It is
Let's
too
not take
short.
things too seriously. Like
Right.
Saturday and Sunday don't have to be next to each other. It's fine. It's
I
fine.
promise. I promise it's gonna be all right,
It
y'all.
will be okay.
They still come
In a few
after each
months,
other in the real world. It's
yes,
okay.
That's a
yes.
fact.
In a
I
few
feel it.
months, you're going to
Mhm.
see all these people sharing all their ideas and tips of ways to use that page. And this conversation will be a thing of the past. That's why I'm
Yes,
like,
it
just
will.
calm. I'm sure that there are more pressing things in this world that we need
Gotta
to
be.
focus on.
Gotta be.
Just saying. Just saying. Yeah. Yeah.
That is so true. So I guess let's go ahead and start, like Julie. Like, when and how do you think the planner community like really started on social media?
So I really think it was probably late 2013 into 2014. I was not in the planner community in 2013, but I hear that people were posting things from time to time, probably more on other platforms like Pinterest, where people
Mm,
shared more ideas and things like that, where Instagram was more of a platform where you shared you took more pictures of food than anything else, right?
that's true.
And shared
Hmm.
that on Instagram. So it definitely evolved from there. I joined the planner community in late 2014, and that seems like a long, long time ago. So nearly 8 years ago,
Hmm.
and it's been a roller coaster. Back then it was really turning anything and everything you could into a sticker. There were people using colorful markers and pens. I mean,
Mm.
there were people using Sharpies in their planners. Like, what?
Oh gosh.
you
Whew.
know, um, it was the big thing
Evolution.
back.
Right.
Yes, we have evolved. When you know better, you do better. That includes markers. Please do not use markers in your plan.
I literally cannot even imagine a
Right,
Sharpie
right,
in a planner. Yikes.
right. And so the main source to even get planner supplies back then was the Target dollar spot, now known as Bullseye's Playground, which I think most people are still like, who? But
Is that the
yeah,
I
it's called
literally
officially now?
say who.
Oh
Bullseye's
wow.
Playground. It's
Mm.
just
It
like,
will
no, it's
forever
just
be the dollar
the
spot.
dollar spot. I mean, nothing costs $1 there anymore,
Right.
but
That's why they
whatever.
Yeah.
changed it.
So, people would take like the little page flags that would come in packets. The dollar section literally had a lot of stationary items in there. There was a practice called shelf lifting. If you're not very familiar with that, that is where people would literally lift the shelves in Target to see if product had fallen underneath there, and or someone came along and hid product for them to find. Later on, that is how desperate people were for these
Ooh, the ghetto.
dollar page
Ooh, the ghetto.
And these things, they didn't even stick to our planners. So we had to buy like additional things like glue sticks or adhesive tape runners to make them stick, because that's what we would use as stickers. There really were not very many sticker shops at the time.
Yeah.
The popular sticker shops back then were like your Lily Henry, Libby and Co., Nicole Hutch Designs, who's still around, and Chrissy Ann Designs, who had started her shop. I think, I mean, she's had a shop that's evolved. Like, I think it started in 2010, I think. But she was also just starting to create stickers as well. And the resources were limited, and we had to do what we could with what we had at our disposal.
And you know what? I bet that fostered so much creativity, like not having a lot of options. So really having to like dig deep and think through what you wanted your planner to look like and try to figure out how to make it happen when you didn't have all these resources at your disposal that we have now. That's crazy. I bet the spreads were absolutely lit.
I mean, for the time.
For the time.
Yes, absolutely. You could scroll back on my feed, and there are some things that I'm just like, did I really do that?
Ooh, homework assignment.
It's fun to look back. It is.
Yeah.
It's fun to look back. It's also fun, especially for someone like me who worked so hard on like my handwriting and things like that. Even my handwriting has changed, right? Because you were showing your stuff on social media, so you wanted it to look good. So you would improve your handwriting. You would find better pens that worked with your handwriting. Don't judge me, but if you do scroll back, I wrote in blue ink back in the day.
Julie.
I know.
Look, she said, when you know better, you do better,
You
right?
do better.
True.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So where would you say, like, as far as social media wise, like what was the main platform back then? Was it mainly Facebook? Because I know back around that time, Instagram had just started.
Yeah, it really was mainly Facebook and your Facebook group. So fun story, I actually joined. So I did find Instagram first, and that's where people were like, you really need to join EC Fans Gone Wild. And I was like, that sounds interesting. And that's where I started as far as like Facebook groups and things. I think shortly after that, I discovered like We Love EC, which is definitely the more quiet, tame, heavily monitored group, whereas EC Fans Gone Wild was not. It was literally the watering hole of the planner community. It's where everyone went to gossip, like literally just talk crap and also share stuff, but that's where you could freely like let loose your feelings and your thoughts on anyone in the community. So it was
It's giving a Wild Wild West vibes. That's what I'm getting.
That is an accurate description. I don't think that there's a single person who would disagree with that. And that's not to say that it was horrible, but again, it was another one of those situations where over the years people were like, okay, enough's enough. Let's kind of like turn this around, because there are some conversations that can become dangerous or on the verge of harassing. Like, we all like, we're human. We all participate in like talking crap, right? But there are some things that just kind of went a little further than they should have gone, and so they really changed their rules and things like that, and it became a much safer space to participate in, which was great. And then shortly after that, you had Go Wild, so that was really awesome. So everything in this community does evolve and change over time, sometimes for the better, sometimes not for the better. I think that the more people you have in the community, you're going to have different points of view, different backgrounds of people, and it only makes our community better. And if you don't evolve with it, then you're going to kind of feel like you don't like this space anymore, and it just might not be for you.
Very true. Very true. And you know what? Something that that has always interested me about the planner community is how it is such a reflection of what is going on in the world. I feel like so many people regard the planner community as like their like safe, quiet space from the outside world, but it is literally just a mirror reflection of what is going on in the world, just on a much smaller scale. And it's as if the world was run by women,
Yeah.
basically, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because you have a lot of the same issues that are in the outside world. And also it kind of seems like around those same like early 2010s, mid 2010s, the world kind of started evolving in a lot of ways too, as far as being a lot more inclusive, politically
Mm-hmm.
correct,
Yep.
you know, and just trying to do more things to make, you know, my minorities and all of us
Mm-hmm.
feel way more included. And it's like that kind of
Yep.
happened. There was a shift in the planner community. I feel like that for that as
Mm-hmm.
well. All of a sudden, women of color and Black women started getting a notice, you know,
Mm-hmm.
queer people started getting noticed in this community and started getting a lot more attention and recognition that they deserve as
Yep.
well. So it's so crazy how it's like all you gotta, if you want to know what's gonna happen soon in the planner community, like look at what's going on in the outside world, and it's
It's
gonna
so
hit the community
true.
in a couple months.
It's so true. Like and it goes back to, you know, when people try to tell you like just stick to talking about planners and washi and
Mm-hmm.
markers and things like that. It's like we're multi-dimensional people, right? We're not just planners, right? We're human
Yeah.
beings with real things going on in our lives, real things that
Mm-hmm.
affect us in a daily basis, that affect each and every one of us differently, right?
Yes.
So the things that we're hearing on the news might affect me differently than it would affect you or someone else. And these
Right.
are important conversations to have because we can't just kind of like stick our heads in the ground and say, I'm just going to, you know, focus on washing and paper and ignore
Mm-hmm.
everything else in the world. We all know how that turned out for all of
Mm.
us, right? When we just
Yes, we
ignore
do.
things.
Yeah.
So, just, you know,
Yeah, because
yeah,
when you
we
know
can't.
things, they don't go away, they don't disappear, they build
Right.
up and they blow
Right.
up. And that's
Yeah.
literally what happened in the world, you know, with Black Lives Matter and everything. And literally that the
Yes.
exact same thing happened in the planner community. It was ignored and then it blew up. And now you can't
Right.
ignore it
And
anymore.
sometimes it just takes, you know, having multiple voices, you
Yeah.
know, to speak up. Because let's be real, if it's just one person, we're like, oh, look at that person, they're complaining about this one thing. But if you
Mm-hmm.
start to hear it over and over again, you're like, you know what, there might be a real issue. Let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about it, right? And as a community, that's what we should do.
Yes.
And I think that's what we started to see over the years in the planner community was like, you can't ignore people's real lives as much as you
Mm-hmm.
just want to see their planners. And this may be an outlet for you. There are human beings behind these accounts. There
Yep.
are human beings in these Facebook groups and things like that. And we kind of have to understand, you know what, maybe this is why their planner spread looks this way this week. Look at what they're having to deal with in their world and in
Yeah.
their community and things like that. So um it's just important to have an open mind and remember, you know, we might have this one thing in common with
Mm-hmm.
planning and organizing and our love of stickers and, you know, excessive
Mm-hmm.
amounts of planners that we buy, but we also have these other things that make us each so unique. And I love
Yes.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
too.
It's always been super ironic to me, the people that are like, just stick to plans. And it's like, what are you planning? Like, we plan our lives. Like, we don't plan
Yes.
Care
Right.
Bear tea
Yeah.
parties and trips with unicorns. Like,
Okay.
we're planning stuff that we're doing in our everyday lives, and all these things affects us. So, like,
Mhm.
if any
Right.
community should be, you know, more than just the
Right.
paper, it should be us, because that's
Absolutely.
literally what we're doing. We're organizing our life.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things to come from the internet getting as huge as it is now and social media getting as huge as it is now is people, it's easy for people to forget, or for some people to forget that just like you're a person behind the keyboard, there are other people, real
Yep.
people with real lives, real problems, real families on the other side of that keyboard. And it's like it's like I feel like when you don't have to physically see somebody's reactions to your words or whatever you have to say to them, you lose that human element. And it does, because obviously 9 times out of 10, all these crazy things that people say online, they would never ever ever say that to somebody's face. They would never have the audacity, the gall, none of that to say that to somebody's face. But it's very easy to forget that you're talking to a person and say those type of things to people. So yeah, I'm glad that the community made that shift, even though I'm a little jealous that I, you know, we missed the Wild Wild West days, because that would have been interesting. But at least we have you to tell us
I'm
the
not gonna
stories.
lie. There were parts of it that were fun, you know, because
Yeah.
I mean, it was just you would like, you know, how we always talk about, you know, oh, people are complaining about brands and things like that. But I mean, it was like an unleashed level of critiquing some of these brands. I'm not gonna lie, we're far from perfect human beings. So, you know, to look back on it, it's like, damn, we really just had no filter at all. And truly the group EC Fans Gone Wild was. Like, they stayed true to their name those first few years. It was a very uncensored group. And a lot of people, specifically the admins, recognize that after a while, as the group grew, and it remained uncensored, that it kind of gave people, like those people who feel like they can just say whatever they want and then walk away from the keyboard, kind of gave them a license to do those things. And it started to just build and build and build.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see the shift. It was nice to see that that group, along with other groups, started to do the same thing. Like, obviously everyone believes in freedom of speech, but there's not like freedom to be hateful,
No,
like,
exactly.
It's one thing to like call someone out for bad behavior, or just being like crappy to someone in the community, or doing things like that. But it's another to just kind of like constantly just,
harassing people and bullying and things like that. Yeah, that's true. So what would you say is the biggest change that you've seen in the community from 2014 to 2020? If you had to pick one thing that you think is the biggest change.
I think overall, just being more inclusive. It has been a beautiful thing to watch. Do I wish it would have happened sooner? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And things happen in this world that kind of create those shifts and those pivots, and it's been great to see. You see people speaking up more, using their spaces to not just talk about planning, but talk about important things that are happening in the world, and talk about things that are important, like voting and election and all of these things. Even if people have different beliefs, still bringing to light, the importance of voting, the importance of participating, and things like that. Talking about things that are happening in their community that might be affecting them. Just people being a lot more like raw and transparent with their lives, because I think that oftentimes we can look at social media and we only see someone's like what they're putting out, right? And we're always just showing like a flat lay, or look at this thing that I bought. But there's so many layers to human beings that they may be going through something, and then when they start sharing what's going on around them and in their world, you're like, okay, you start to get to know these people a little bit better.
Yeah.
I just think it's good to see the way that it has evolved, in the way like people have been turning it into their business, because before really the only businesses in the planner community were shop owners. So you had to like sell a product to be a business owner,
right?
And that's also evolved, as well as people start to create Patreons and podcasts and things like that, and really like start to create a business and a career for themselves. And it's great to see how that has also evolved. You don't have to have a shop to be a business owner. You can create content and inspire people and educate people, and it's great. I can see the community continuing to grow if we continue to take this direction. I really do.
Yeah, I love that too, because I mean, being a shop owner is literally just not for everybody. And I think it's great that people can see and really put out there that there are so many different lanes as far as if you are wanting to monetize your presence in the planner community. You don't have to be a shop owner. You don't have to be a podcaster. You don't have to be a influencer. You don't have to be affiliate. Like you can choose, or you don't have to try to be everything either.
Right.
Because a lot of people have gone down that path of just trying to do it all. And it's like, girl, just don't be, when you try to be a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. You know what I'm saying? So focus on what you do well and what you enjoy the most. And then maybe later on, if you want to branch out and do more things, you can try to add it, but don't try to take on a full plate at one time, because girl, I could just never be a shop owner. The patience that they have.
That's why I stick to like my 2 digital products.
There you go.
2 things.
Look, it's up there.
Every
and it's
now
done.
and then, right. And every now and then I'll get the question like, how do I make this work on my like Samsung product? I'm like, I don't use Android devices. Let me Google that for you. And you do have to answer questions and service your customers, and that I can only imagine shop owners who have thousands of listings and what they have to deal with. I'm like, nope, I'm going to stay in the digital space.
Yes. And you have to be so nice about it too. I think that's where I would struggle. The customer service piece would be a slight
Some
struggle
customers
for me.
are not very nice.
Yeah. I feel most are pretty nice. It's just the mean ones be loud.
They're loud.
They are
loud and mean, loud and wrong.
Yeah. And they will make sure the entire internet knows how upset they are. And you're just like, really, this is between you and the shop owner.
Seriously. Seriously.
I'm sure they will take care of you, but Yeah, it's me neither. No shop owning for me like that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's why I've had a few people say, "Oh, you should launch your own planner." I'm like, "Are you insane?"
See, they tell you that, and they could be
So,
the main ones ripping you to shreds when
ripping it apart,
Saturday and Sunday aren't next to each
right?
other.
How
You
dare
know,
she?
how dare you? We told you what we
Yeah.
wanted, and you didn't make that exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What is wrong with y'all? But
It's facts. Where's the lie, Myra? Where is the lie?
oh my
No
God.
lies
That's low
detected.
key.
None.
That's low key a part of internet culture though. Like to just
Yeah.
like go off and feel like honestly entitled because you spent $2 on $2 Tuesday. So you can just go ahead and just rip that person
Tell
to
them everything
shreds.
that's wrong with their
Yeah.
shop because you spent that
Yeah.
$2. Yeah.
But I think that's a part of internet culture. Folks do that all the time. DoorDash
Mhm.
didn't get their food to me. Oh, let me go to Twitter. But it's like the
Did you
shop
tell
owner is not
DoorDash?
DoorDash. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Mr. DoorDash is not reading your tweet. It's some
Mhm.
intern that's manning the thing. And I
But
that's
you
the
know what?
difference with us. Like the
Yeah.
shop owner is probably manning their Instagram account too. So
Yeah.
you're
Absolutely.
directly talking to that person.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
true. That's true. Even
Yeah.
though with these big companies, that is the way to get things done. If they not
It is.
cooperating privately, hit your Instagram or your Twitter and at them a couple times. I bet they start cooperating then. I
Mhm.
mean,
Even on TikTok, you'll see it. People calling out
Well,
companies and
yeah. Shout out to
Yep.
TikTok girl.
Yep. Shout out to TikTok girl.
Oh my goodness. Okay. What is one thing
Okay.
that you wish you knew when you first came into the community?
One thing I wish I knew. Whew, there's probably a lot. I think
I think it would be fun for
okay.
all three of us to answer this question too.
I think so too.
Oh
I think
God.
so too.
Don't think, Myra.
Yeah, you guys will have a
Why
little
did
bit
I
more
do this
time.
to myself?
I know.
It's a great question.
I think that it probably would have been to kind of explore outside of my bubble of like original friends. Like no hate to those friendships, but you kind of stay in like these cliques and you don't get to know like other people. And I think, going back into planner history, there was a lot of that back in the day. And I'll admit I was guilty of it too, because you stay within your comfort zone, right? And you don't get to know a lot of other people. So I probably would have, not had so many barriers up, but it's hard on the internet too. You don't really know the person that you're conversing with. And I think this is before like Instagram, like DMs were even a big thing. So, people would try to get to know you online and you're like, stranger danger.
Right.
So, but again, it was, trying to create a safe internet experience. I think the way now that the platforms have evolved where there's stories and you can kind of get to know people that way if they use stories in that way. And now through Instagram DMs, and if they're on other platforms like YouTube and TikTok and things like that, it does open up room for you to get to know people a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the other thing too would have been to explore other brands, to be quite honest. When I first came into this community, it was like EC was the brand.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of like literally everything I owned was just from this one brand. And it kind of left me closed off to trying out other brands. And again, not any shade to the EC brand. We all know they make great product and they have that magical paper. But
magic.
didn't hurt to try other things,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm one of those people where, no lie, when everything went down in like 2020, I was like, what do I use now? It was hard
true.
because I had kind of put myself in this one category of planning and hadn't
Yeah.
really tried other things, at least not recently. And I was just like, this is all I'll ever use. This is my favorite. This is the best thing ever. There's nothing else out there like it. Well, I mean, there are other products to try. And I wish I would have branched out a little bit more. That's really it.
Yeah, at least you branch out a lot now though, because every other week you got a new planner. So I feel like you're making up for lost times when it comes to that.
Oh yes.
I think for me, something I wish I knew when I first came into the community, I wish I knew that it was okay to have my own voice and really, really actively use it. Because honestly, once, everything popped off in 2020 and me and Myra created this platform, that was really the first, that I guess maybe in a couple months leading up to that, but that was really when we really started speaking out, really started standing up, really started shouting from the rooftops what we believed in. And I don't know, I don't think I was ever scared to do that, but I just didn't see a lot of other people doing that. So when you come into a community, you're thinking, oh, well, nobody else is really saying anything about this in the news. I guess people are just worried about what's going on in the planner community. So it's that you kind of think that you're supposed to do that too, that you're not supposed to bring all this outside stuff in, and you're not supposed to talk about it because you won't get followers, you won't be popular, or whatever you want to call it. You won't make friends because nobody wants to talk about that type of stuff. So I wish I knew sooner that it was okay to really use my platform the way I wanted to use it and just really, really put my voice out there. And I hope people coming into the community now know that this is a safe space to say how you feel, and you're not safe from consequences if you say something messed up.
That's true.
Or problematic, but you're free to say it. You're free to put it out there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess reflecting to 2019, maybe it would have been like, girl, shout it from the rooftops that Black Lives Matter. Like, forget these people.
Yeah, I feel that, because even back then, honestly, before, like you said, 2019 me, I still had like my quote unquote personal Instagram, and that's where I would, be speaking out and stuff. And then Myra Plans, it was literally just full of flat lays and what's this new release. So I kind of kept it separate. Now it's like, I am who I am on the whole Myra Plans platform. But
absolutely,
that's why y'all get a whole bunch of drag stuff, because I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't share it. I'm like, I don't care. Y'all know I like it. Just tap in if it's not your thing. But I think for me, I guess I'm kind of piggybacking off of both of yours. Definitely branch out and try different brands for sure. And I also would say, realizing that there is no one linear way to success in this community. I think coming in, I wanted to like, oh, I see like XYZ, these couple of people are doing this, and they're, being on this PR team, and then they open up a shop, and it's like, okay, I need to make sure I do all of those things, but none of that is really, who I am. Right. I don't have a patience for the shop. I felt kind of weird, like going super hard for somebody else's brand and not really sharing a lot of like who I am and, what my brand is. So that just wasn't the lane for me. So I wish I would have known that, I don't have to go that route to be successful here.
Yeah, so absolutely. Absolutely.
There's I love that
to get there. Yep.
I went through about a year of feeling like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing to be successful. And a lot of it, again, goes back to the events of 2020 and letting people, jump into my DMs and say things like, you're the only reason why you were successful is because of XYZ brand, and you won't be anything without them. And I was like, is that true? Like, I let those voices kind of like, kind of take over what I was supposed to be doing. Like, is this all that I am? Is just this one brand or this ambassador for this one brand? I would like to think that I'm more than that. And, you let those people kind of convince you of those things. But, and I think honestly, that's partly one of the reasons why I did take such a long break, is because I wanted to find myself without being tied to any one brand 24/7, because you can look back at my feed from 2014 to 2020 and it is like one brand. You just knew who I loved, right? And I wanted to kind of figure out who I was without having to constantly feed that machine, and that's what I love. And I knew that when I would come back, or when I would, start using their products a little bit more openly, that it had to be on my terms, when I felt comfortable and how I wanted to do it. So
I'm glad you stuck to your guns with that too.
Yeah, because I'm sure the girlies were
people
asking.
Like so
they were.
Mad.
Yeah. They were.
So
Again,
like,
what is wrong with you people?
I was like, what have I done?
It makes no sense to have your identity tied to any brand except for your own. Literally, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like it's because that way, no matter what you do, it's only a reflection of your own brand. Like Planners and Wine is our brand. A big part of Planners and Wine is saying how we feel and putting it out there. And so if we're doing that on our personal pages, that's right along line. That's on brand with Planners and Wine. This is what we do.
Right.
We're not spokespeople for any other brand, even if we work with brands here and there. The main brand that we are tied to is our own. I think that is just so important because then, like you said, like what happens when that brand does something colossally bad and you don't want to be associated with that brand no more. So then what do? You have to pick it up and figure out something else. You got to pivot, you know, and that's a hard thing to do. It's a really, really hard thing to do.
It is. Yeah.
It is. And I like what you brought up, Myra, about, you know, speaking up and things like that. Because I'm going to tell you, before 2020, I was one of those people that was terrified to speak up about things, because the planner community in some ways, it was truly terrifying, right? Like you didn't want to deal with those horrible DMs and things that people would say to you.
Yeah.
And, you know, seeing, you know, not only just people like yourself, but other people in the community really speaking up about things empowered other people to speak up about things, right? Like I was one of those people that was like, I always knew that Black Lives Matter, but damn, I didn't realize we had to say it. Like,
for sure. Yeah.
Because in my mind, I was like, that's how it always is, right? But then obviously things happen and you realize that's not the case for everybody.
For sure.
And so it helped me be like, you know what, this is important. If I have this space, I want people to know the things that are important to me and where I stand on those issues. So now when people come in my DMs and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you would post that, I'm like, then you haven't been around very long, because I've been very, very vocal about where I stand and what my beliefs are and what I'm going to speak up about. So it makes responding to those DMs now so much easier, because I'm just like, this is not my problem. You don't get it. You don't get it.
It's a you problem, not a me problem.
Right.
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like for me personally, I just have much more respect for people who utilize their brand in their page and their platform, not just to monetize it, but also to try to make the world and the community a better place. You know, no shade to people who don't do that, you know, that's on them or whatever, but those are just not the people I choose to associate myself or my brand with, because I want to know how you feel. I want to know not only that you think the Black Lives Matter, but that you aren't scared to say the Black Lives Matter. You know, that's huge. That's huge for us, because it's literally our lives, our families, our children, you know, and it's like, if you can't stand beside me and shout that from the rooftops, you're not going to be making money off of me, and I'm not going to be making money with you. Like we just don't have we don't have nothing to talk about, you know?
Right.
But,
yeah,
1000%.
Definitely agree. Yeah, definitely agree.
Yep. So Julie, what do you we'll save us a little bit of this for something coming up. We'll let you guys know more information about that. But let's just,
I know people hate that. People hate hearing that. Sorry.
Tune in. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So let's just end on a high note. What are some things that you love about this planner community?
Truly the people, and like the friendships that I have been able to just the way that I've been able to bond with people. Like we don't even have to be from the same state, we don't have to be using the same planners. It's been great to get to know people on a different level other than just what planner they're using. You know what I mean? And just to get to know people in that way. And that's what I think has been the greatest part, is the people and getting to know people. Like I know that we use planners and that's what brought it all together, but those are things, and those are things that can be replaced. But connections and the bonds that you build with people there's just nothing that you can top with that. So
that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So true.
Like when anybody asks us about like comparing like a previous planner conference to Go Wild, it's really easy for me just to be like, you know, the previous planner conference that we went to, it was a conference and it was a lot of fun. Go Wild was literally like summer camp, where there was like a deep level of bonding. And this may not be the experience for everybody, but at least this was our experience. And like the most valuable thing that we got out of Go Wild was the deepening of connections and friendships, you know. And that's one of my favorite things about this community too, because I feel like we talked about earlier, you forget that people are people, and then when you see them in real life, you see them at Go Wild, you are able to put not only just a face or a body from here up, but a full body, a full identity to this person that you follow and interact with online. Like, it makes it different, and it makes it a lot harder. I think, I would hope, for people to be so mean and cruel,
Yeah, I think so too. It's almost like how they have is it TMZ or one of those that does like the celebrities and the doing everyday things, right? It's kind of like that at Go Wild. We're like, oh my God, that person eats food. Like, look at them dancing. They're drinking.
Right.
Yeah.
The first time we met Cindy from Llama Letters was at that other planner conference, and she was coming out of the bathroom. Literally.
Oh my God.
Walking out of the bathroom.
Because you just have to be reminded that everybody has to use the bathroom.
Everybody has to use the bathroom. Everybody.
That's so true. So imagine the very first Go Wild, right? It was the first time that really anybody had met one another. There were like smaller local meetups prior to that. I think Atlanta had a couple of them. That was honestly one of my first meetups, was one in Atlanta, had about 50 people attend. But Go Wild was truly where a lot of us had met for the first time. And when I tell you that I couldn't even speak the week after from the amount of screaming from just being so excited to see people. Like, now, of course, I was still excited to see people for the first time, but it was different because you've had like all these years to get to know people. And of course, there are a couple of years skipped of having Go Wild, so you had these longer time frames of getting to know people before you met them. But Go Wild is on a whole nother level that just I love it so much. I tell people, yes, there are other conferences. I encourage people to go to other ones, especially if they're closer to them, because it's definitely a little easier on the budget to stay local. But I think Go Wild, being this size, allows you the chance to meet more people in a short time frame, right? So there's the ability to just connect with more people.
Yep, absolutely. And connect with all these shops that you're cursing out, because your $2 Tuesday sticker sheet was a little bit too sticky.
I know. You kind of want to go with them. Remember all that stuff you were saying? That owner's right there.
They're right there.
I dare you.
Let them know. Let them know that sticker sheet wasn't cut perfectly to their face. Go ahead.
Oh man. Yeah, it's seriously like I said, like, definitely do other conferences. I get it, because it is like an investment, but it's truly nothing like Wild. It just really isn't.
Absolutely. Julie, it is always such a pleasure talking to you, having you on Planet and Wine. And I am so excited that we're going to get to talk to you a little bit more, but you guys are going to have to stay tuned for that once again. Sorry. I know y'all hate it.
No, they hate it.
But we are going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, and we will be right back with the rest of the show. All right, guys. So we are back from our interview with Julie. Myra, what are your final thoughts on our chat with Julie? Isn't she just the best?
She is such a sweetheart, but such a real person too. Like, try her if you want to kind of person, which I appreciate. Clearly, I love try it if you want to kind of people, if y'all couldn't tell already. But
Myra has a type. Myra has a type.
Because we hear. But yeah, I just love getting her perspective and then learning a few things. Like, what did she say about the shelves at Target?
Oh, how the girls used to move the shelves to make sure things didn't fall or were hidden under them. Thirsty.
But we probably would have been right there with the girls too.
We would have been thirsty too.
No shame if that was you, because it probably would have been us too. When we were, doing our happy planner thing.
Absolutely.
Definitely some things that I've done that I will be like, girl, come on now today, so we've all been there. But I thought that was pretty cool. And just to see like how much it evolved, like to think that that's all folks have was like the dollar spot stickers that y'all had to put more glue on, to now crazy. It's like we have so many options. It's just it's so great. Yeah. And I mean, it goes back to show like there's no reason to just be stuck to one brand, because there's just so many options out here.
So many. Absolutely.
But yeah.
Julie is always so fun to talk to, and we're going to have a preview of something really, really special coming up at the end of this episode, but y'all are going to have to just stay tuned. We'll talk about it. I've been saying that a lot this episode. Y'all are so pissed. It's okay though. We're going to get there, I promise. I'm not gonna make you
And
wait till
don't
another
fast forward
episode.
because it don't make sense. Just listen
Don't.
to it on through.
Just chill. Just chill. Yes.
Yeah.
So now we are more or less at the end of launch season. Most of the major launches have come out for this season. Myra, how do you think this launch season was? Yeah, let's just talk about how do you think this launch season was for all these different planner companies.
Um, I don't know if we talked. Well, we've talked about it with Julie on one of the shows. Just become
Yeah.
Patreon so you won't miss it.
There you
But I do appreciate, especially like with EC, like the flow. It seems like a bit different. It seems like evolving where it comes to like working with the affiliates, even the like designs and the collections. It just seems like it was evolving and more just new and fresh, but also still
Mm-hmm.
keeping the EC brand, which I truly appreciate, especially being a part of the people who got the collection to be able
Mm-hmm.
to sit with these products, really think about like the content I want to make and all that stuff. Like I just really appreciate that and
Yep.
really get to know the items because like I said, for me, my most important thing is to be true to my audience, whether it's here
Yes.
on this platform or on, Myra Plans It. That's really important to me. And I need time to get to
Mm-hmm.
know the product. So I do appreciate that they gave us plenty of time to do that. Um, I appreciate that they are listening, like the
Mm-hmm.
changes with the Daily Duo. That was just last year, and they made the
Mm-hmm.
change immediately. More options,
Yep. Yep.
more
Yep. Yep.
layouts. Yeah, I do appreciate that. And with the other companies, like was it Simplified that made some changes too? I'm sure that's the
Simplified their
feedback they got.
paper. Yeah, the paper is different. And also Day Designer had a lunch too, but I don't think anything really changed. Not that anything that I heard about.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but those went on without a hitch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And I think with it being a little bit earlier than what we're used to, because I feel like academic launch season was typically like towards May
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
past. I do appreciate it being a little bit earlier because we still dealing with supply issues and
Yeah.
getting things in.
Yep.
So I do appreciate folks hopping in on this early,
Yep.
but yeah, and for the most part, the community
Mm-hmm.
has been positive. I mean, we talked about it. Y'all
Yep.
heard our
Yep.
thoughts and opinions
Yes,
before,
you
but
did.
overall, I just feel like the community is, being cool
Yeah,
about it,
I think so too. Cause my thing is like even like any little bit of negativity that I may have saw about people's preferences for, different products or not liking certain things or certain changes, I didn't see anything that was like overwhelmingly negative. And I can't even really call it negative. It was just people really voicing not liking something and they weren't doing it in like a rude or like out of line way, which I don't know if it's just because the people I follow are not rude out of line people. I'm sure it might have been something out there, but I just really didn't see any of that. So that was a pleasant surprise that nothing was just like overwhelmingly negative or anything, and people seem to be enjoying this lunch season. I'm kind of realizing I really need to look into who I follow more and try to follow more people that support more brands, because I've only been seeing a lot of particular brands and not so much. And I know it's out there for other brands too, but it's just not
Mhm.
in the people I follow. So it really kind of made me want to branch out more and follow more people, because I want to see how they're using, different brands and different planners and things like that as well. And I think it's cool that like EC, for instance, has the capacity to have so many layouts and so many
Mhm.
themes and so many different things to choose from, because you kind of see with Simplified, their same daily planner, their same weekly planner, nothing really new there. Same thing with Day Designer, same daily planner, same weekly planner, nothing really new, just a year, in the covers. So
Mhm.
it's nice to see a lot of new options, because I know I'm just not the type of gal who is going to use the exact same planner every single year for the rest of my life. There are a lot of people out there like that. I'm just not one of those. So I love to see really new and creative and innovative things. Even if I'm not always in love with it, I still just like that it's out there and it's an option. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And even like the little bit of pushback with the, Daily Duo gate.
Mm-hmm.
Um the people that I seen that were being like, in my opinion, like just honestly kind of malicious or just, being mean about it.
Mhm.
The community didn't bite on that.
Mhm.
So I'm like,
Well,
shout out to y'all.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because that I feel like that's what those people wanted, for
Mhm.
people to share and make it in this
Really
little
jump
spark
on
into
it and
a
make it a thing.
wildfire. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and for the most part, I didn't see the community really jump on that.
Mm-mm.
So I appreciate that, because that was just honestly it's a preference. We all have
Yeah.
different preference. We all like different planners. We all like different layouts. It's all it is. But
Mhm.
folks don't have to be malicious about it, and I appreciate the community not like taking that bait,
Yeah.
basically.
It's evolving. It is
Mhm.
evolving and it's
Yes.
changing. And I feel like I feel like reserving their energy, the things that really call for it, and not just
Mhm.
using some of their energy on things that aren't super necessary. And yeah, with this stuff, it just definitely wasn't necessary to the majority of us. So we'll save our energy for way more important things for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, a little bit of reality show talk we're gonna do. Usually we reserve this for reality and wine, but me and Myra don't do reality and wine together, and we want to talk about this together. So we're gonna talk about it here. I watched the first episode of the Kardashians' new show. So you guys don't have to, and I am here to report back
Yeah,
on
because
the
we
new show.
wasn't.
Some of the girls are okay. In my defense, some of the girls are gonna watch
Let
it.
me know.
Okay.
Let me know if
So
you was
as y'all
one.
know, all right, let us know. But as y'all know, the Kardashians had their show Keeping Up the Kardashians on E for such a long time. I think they did over 20 seasons, and I don't think it was quite 20 years, but it was like 20 or so
Mhm.
seasons, and it was a lot of episodes. They ended that a couple of years ago, and then they announced, I think towards the end of last year, that they were gonna have a new reality show called Just the Kardashians, and it would be a Hulu exclusive show. So that show finally has come out, and as we're recording, like I said, I have seen the first episode, and I like it. I actually like the show, and y'all know I'm not like I don't really call myself like a Kardashian hater, but I'm definitely not a Kardashian fan. Like, I feel like I used to like them a lot more back in the day, but once a lot of things, some of the problematic things really started surfacing about them, their appropriation of Black culture and things like that, that's when I kind of really started to not really care for them so much. But I don't hate them or anything like that. But I like this show because it just felt a lot more real than their previous show. And we all know that reality shows can only be so real, but I felt like this show just did not seem overly dramatized. It didn't seem like they were really trying to put so much stock into certain things just to make them seem more important than what they were. It really was just like they were living their lives and acknowledging that there were cameras around, which is something they didn't really do a lot on their previous show. You know what I'm saying? It felt more
Mhm.
like they were trying to do a scripted, unscripted show back in the day.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is truly, it kind of felt almost more like a documentary style of thing. Not quite there, but kind of. So I liked it. I feel like it was cool. We got to see Courtney's relationship with Travis Barker, which is nice, and how that affects her ex boyfriend Scott. We got to see Kim dealing with some sex tape stuff again, which was interesting, and also the potential effect that the knowledge of that sex tape would have on her kids, which is, I mean, it's something to think about. Like literally her son was playing the game and on Roblox, and there was like a preview or something of another game that was like, click this to see Kim Kardashian's new sex tape. Luckily her son can't read, and it didn't
Oh
show
my
anything.
God.
But yeah, and it literally had the moment he discovered it and him showing her in the show, which is insane, right?
How did he? I mean, I guess he must have a picture or something that
It was
looked
like
like
a it was
her.
like a cry. It was like her crying face meme picture. It
Oh, so
wasn't like a picture. It
yeah,
wasn't like a nasty picture or nothing like
yeah,
that. But yeah, so that was insane.
yeah.
Um, Started talking about Kylie's pregnancy. Kendall wasn't in it that much because she had COVID at the time they were filming that, but they told us. which is
Mhm.
interesting. Yeah, so like I said, I feel like it was, if you're somebody who doesn't really mind the Kardashians too much, like you like them in small doses, or yeah, I feel like you will like this show. I don't think it's a bad show for anybody like that. And I think I'm gonna continue watching it because I'm just kind of curious, because we've seen so many things happen in the headlines over the past couple years, but this is kind of gonna give us the behind the scenes of what is going on with that and how they kind of dealt with that, like on a personal level. So, and then we're gonna deal with, Chloe finding out that Tristan got another baby on the way, all that fallout. So
Ooh.
it's a
Oh,
lot. And it's crazy
yeah.
because on this episode, she's like, yeah, me and Tristan are just friends. We're working on our trust. And if it was up to him, we would be back together. But right now, he's really trying to prove to me that he's changed and he's in therapy and that he wants to be with me. And we all are watching, like, we just know it's a matter of time before they're showing her find out that this fool got another baby on the way. Y'all, Myra's face right now.
Sorry, it's an audio podcast. I'm just so through with her. I literally heard it in her voice when you told me that, and
I
that's
mean,
why I
she
was
said,
just like, huh.
yep, that's exactly what she said. Yep. And we like,
I just,
ooh,
girl,
it's gonna
just
sting.
stop. I hope her sisters are telling her, and she don't deserve this.
Well, if they are, that's definitely not what they. I feel like because of how they know Chloe to be, I feel like they are taking the stance of just supporting her and her choices,
I'll let her
because
find out on her own.
yeah, because I feel like they know that if they want her in their lives and they want their niece in their lives, then you can only tell somebody so much about a person, so you just like kind of fall back and like they got to figure out for themselves. In the meantime, I don't want to ruin my relationship with them trying to force them to get rid of that person. And she'll eventually, if he is really like this, it's going to come out again, which it does, and she's going to
Mm-hmm.
do what she needs to do. So, woo. And then yeah, they just not that tight. You know how they are. It's kind of different with them. But even with, like, say if it was us, if I felt like you were in like a really, really toxic relationship, I would tell you, but I'm not, it's not gonna be something that's gonna be on my agenda to say every single time we talk, because I don't want to push you away from me if you're still choosing to be in this situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's tough. It is
I
tough.
know
It
it's
is
hard.
tough.
Yeah. Oh,
But
girl.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
it. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was a pleasant surprise. It wasn't bad. It wasn't boring. It was kind of interesting. And then they're gonna have like the beginning phases of, because like on last night they talked about Kim being on Saturday Night Live, and that's when she really started talking to Pete Davidson not too long after that. So we're gonna kind of see the beginnings of her very strange relationship with him. So it's gonna be interesting.
I don't what they see in Pete, I just don't understand.
Girl, well, from
I
what I've heard, it's something we can't really talk about on this podcast.
That's what I heard too. And it makes sense. It makes sense.
It does.
It do. I'm like, that's must what it gotta be.
Right, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm sure funny dude. He not the funniest on SNL, but
He's not, but you know what? And I think he's probably maybe a really kind and nice person, which
mhm.
is a stark contrast to Kanye West. I don't know if anybody would describe Kanye West as nice or kind. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe Kim wanted somebody who was just a little bit more sweet and attentive than Kanye, because you already know Pete Davidson is probably all up in her face, give her literally whatever she want, like doting on her, doing the whole shebang. And Kanye was like, "What you wearing today? That's all I care about." So, because apparently he tried to quit his career and wanted to just be her stylist. That was talked about on the show too. Like he literally wants to quit music, quit everything else he was doing, and just be her stylist full time.
That man.
I know.
First of all, there's no way he was gonna do that.
He said
Even if
he wanted to. He said it. He said it allegedly. Allegedly, he said it.
I believe he said it, but do I believe he would have executed that? He might have did it for like a year or so, and he would just be. He is such a
You're right.
creative person and also such an erratic person that there's
He
no way he
is.
could just sit and do one thing
Yeah,
for
you're right.
the rest
Because
of his
he was
life.
also moving to Chicago,
Mhm.
which I don't even think ever fully happened. He also moved to West Virginia, wherever he was, and he wasn't there forever. So yeah,
Yeah,
he is very erratic. He wouldn't
just
stay with that. That's true.
yeah.
Mm,
It's just very uh poor. It's just I hope he get the help he need, because
mm-hmm,
somebody like him, and to have the money that he has, to have a brain that's just going all
mm-hmm.
the time, and you have access to money to help you do all these multiple
Yeah, it's a
things,
lot.
it's not healthy.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
It's
it's
definitely
just
not.
not. Yeah.
You know what? And I'm hoping, I don't know how recently they've been recorded, because I heard one of the reasons why they moved to Hulu from E was because they would shoot the stuff for their show on E so far ahead of when it actually aired. But with
Hmm.
Hulu, it's supposed to be a lot more. It's not supposed to be a lot more timely, because I believe she was just on SNL either towards the end of last year or a few months ago. So it's really not a lot of time removed from when the show is
Yeah.
coming out. So it's a lot more timely. So I'm curious to see how much of the whole, social media Kanye disaster they're actually going to show on the show. Because at this point in time in the show's timeline, her and Kanye are getting a divorce, but they're cool, they're cordial. Like, she even called him to talk about the whole sex tape thing and how horrible that was. She like broke down on the phone talking to him about it, and he was like comforting her. And they are still in the midst of a divorce at that point. So yeah, I'm interested
Yeah,
to see how much
I
of that
am
they're going
glad
to
he was
show.
comforting her, because yeah, I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
just something she just did not think about.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something that she'll have to deal with? But I mean,
I
that's a lesson
know.
for all of us.
Yeah.
We do something right now and we just don't think about how it could affect, our future kids if,
Yeah.
we don't
And
have
it's
them, or
unfair. It's
yeah,
unfair.
yeah,
It's not
because it
right.
only happened to women too. So
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely unfair. And she kind of talked about that too, how that has been held over her for literally the last 20 years of her life. And
mhm.
how unfair that is. And I agree. It is unfair. So yeah. So Myra, are you gonna check out the Kardashians on Hulu?
No, you can give me highlights. It's fine.
I will.
Give me that, because it
I
do sound
will.
good. It doesn't. I felt like Keeping Up with the Kardashians was boring. I never really had an issue with the
Yeah.
Kardashians, but the show was freaking boring.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't have an interest in this new show. But
Yeah.
glad that they at least got something else going. It's a lot more
Mm-hmm.
timely. It sounds a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more real.
I think it is. I
Still,
feel like the old show was a little bit overly curated, and this one doesn't feel like that. This one
mm,
just doesn't have that feel, and so we'll see. I'll keep you posted on it. I know I feel like that may have sounded a little bit like an ad for the show. And Hulu, if you want to sponsor some episodes, we'll talk about it. So it's fine. Just hit
I
us
do
up.
like Hulu. Shout out to y'all.
planetsofwine@gmail.com. Yeah, yeah. So both of us have also watched the first episode of The Ultimatum
Mhm.
on Netflix. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that and kind of give our thoughts on the show. My initial thought on the show, and what I saw a lot of other people voice on social media about it, is why are we watching 24, 25-year olds who have been in a relationship for a year or two argue about getting married?
Yeah, that was my initial thought too. And also,
Right?
boo, tomatoes, because none of these people have really been together
No,
that long.
they haven't.
I
Yeah.
just, I mean, this is me personally. I mean, do whatever you want to do with your love life. Don't take it personal if you get,
Mm-hmm.
married somebody after 6 months or whatever. I just don't feel like a year and a half, 2 years is just really enough. And
Mm-hmm.
especially at that age too,
Mm.
because they
Yeah.
are 22,
Well,
23,
here's the
25.
thing. I don't feel like, and I feel like in general, I would agree with that too. But here's the thing. I feel like you can meet somebody and know very, very quickly if they're the one. That doesn't mean you're always right, but you can know for that point in time that they are the one. And
Mhm.
there have been probably a lot of successful relationships and marriages that have started out of them not being together for that long. The difference
Yeah.
with this show to me and these couples to me is that in those situations, it's not like these two people have been together for 6 months and they're arguing over if they should get married. Those two people are on the same page and they want the same things very early on in
Right.
their
Yeah.
relationship. That's the difference. The fact that y'all are arguing about this so early in your relationship is a major red flag. A major red flag to me. You
Yeah.
know?
If it's a disagreement to the point that we're like, oh, let's check out this TV show and be on that to date somebody else, y'all don't need to be together. This
No.
man literally said he doesn't want to get married I don't know the people name. I only
I don't
watched the
either.
first one.
I don't either.
But he doesn't want to get married to the girl, like specifically the girl name Alexis, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it
But
Jack?
if he find
Jack and
I don't
Alexis, maybe?
I don't know. He got a
know
beard.
either.
Decent
Okay.
looking guy, whatever.
Maybe
He got a beard.
Hunter. I'm about to look it up.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'm sorry. I'm
I
just
put it
about
in
to
my
look it up.
stories. It's in my stories. So if you can
Oh,
look
yeah,
at him
yeah.
and see. But
Okay.
he basically he doesn't want to be with Alexis, but if he finds somebody in 3 weeks, he do think that he will be ready to get married. So it's her.
It's her.
It's not marriage, it's her. And
Mm-hmm.
why are you on the next 10 episodes, sir? You can go home today.
That's wild. I think this guy, I don't remember his name. I'll just show y'all for anybody who is looking at the video.
Do it say it in the captions?
His name is Hunter, though.
It sounded about right. He looked like a hunter.
Yeah. He does.
Like his name really and like physically, he do look like somebody that go hunting.
Right. He does. But yeah.
I mean, cute guy, but yeah.
Absolutely. Like, and it's like, recognize that you just don't want her if that's the case. Like, you don't need a show to tell you that you don't. But if I'm not mistaken, by the end of the first episode, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, by the end of the first episode, he is the one that's proposing to her. He's proposed. They get engaged at the end of the first episode, right?
I had to rewatch that. I don't remember no engagement.
Oh, sorry. That may be episode 2. I didn't know what episode it was on. I'm so sorry. They got engaged before the process truly started, basically. Yeah.
Girl, I know you
episode
lying.
2, I guess.
I know you lying.
No, I'm not. I really thought it was the first episode. I must have just been watching and it went to the next episode and I didn't even realize because I was like half watching. So that's my bad. But yeah, that's Hunter and Alexis. But yeah, he proposes like when they get to like the little sit down dinner when they're talking about who's gonna go hang out with who or move in with who for the next 3 weeks. He proposes to her right then. I don't know what happens after that. I know she says yes, but that's all I know.
I hope she ain't with him now because when he said that,
could you imagine being with somebody and watching them say
engaged to somebody and
or
watching
married?
That
they could be married.
Oh
by
yeah,
now, by the time she
could.
saw it.
I don't condone violence, but that might have to be a Chris Rock. Might have to be a Chris Rock.
I think so too.
Because that was just so egregious. I could not just imagine even saying anything like that about my, future husband. I just couldn't.
It's insane. And Alexis, so according to this article, Alexis is only 25. So, and like I said, it's not about age. You can meet the love of your life at any age and be together for whatever time and get married. But it's like if you're already you're that young, y'all haven't been together that long, and one of y'all wants something so big that the other person is not interested in, come on. You don't need a show to tell you that you don't need to be with this person. You just don't.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think. I mean, technically, I've got married at that age, but also obviously that was something he wanted to do too.
We were both on the same thing. We were both on the same page.
We were like 27.
Yeah.
So yeah,
exactly.
we were both on the same page. But so I'm not saying like, oh, they're too young to be thinking about this. I'm saying how you with somebody 2 years and this is a major, discrepancy in your relationship. It's just y'all need to move on. Yeah, it's not it.
Right. And most of the people who even like anybody who I know of who got married super young, like before 25, are more than likely people who have been in a relationship with this person since like high school. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but like for instance, like Shanique and Randall. This is Randall. Can you see him?
I know Randall. And he's the cutest one on the show.
Yeah, he's super cute. She is only 24 and he is only 26. And they have been together for a year and a half. And she is pressuring him about them getting married. And girl, finish grad school or get started in your career.
Go
doing
travel.
Whatever the hell you doing.
Yeah,
like why are you? And I feel like in some situations, this might be a situation with them in particular where maybe she is kind of wanting the wedding and not really the marriage. When you're thinking about how fun it is to get married and get engaged and to have that process of the wedding and the bridesmaids and the planning and all that, and you're not really thinking of what is what is the real life in and out of actually being married to somebody for the rest of your life, because that should be your intention when you go into it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I don't know, but I think it would be beneficial for these shows to provide them some therapy, some couples therapy, some individual therapy.
why
I think
is
that will
couples
be
therapy not
beneficial.
an element? Maybe it is later on, but I haven't seen or heard anything about
I
that.
mean, again, I've only seen the first episode, but I
Yeah.
feel like if these folks were in couples therapy and they're saying like, oh, this is like our last resort to try this show,
Mm-hmm.
that probably would have been something said in the first episode. But I don't
Yeah.
think that this is something. And
They
again,
definitely weren't
I
before the
haven't
show.
watched the whole show, but
Mm-hmm.
that would have been, to me, that's the first step.
It is. Yeah,
You
what
know,
we want a
if
freaking
I think
reality
that
TV
this is the,
show.
I don't get that at all. I just don't. I mean, it's nice for
Mm-mm.
us to be entertained and watch it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, why is that the first step? And y'all ain't
Right.
even tried no couples therapy, because you could probably find out that you think this person is the one, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
that person just isn't in
Yep.
therapy
That's true.
privately.
Yep, exactly.
But
Exactly. So yeah, we're gonna keep watching the ultimatum.
mhm.
Try to keep your spoilers to yourself, even though I literally just spoiled the second episode to Myra, and I am sorry about that. Myra gonna be going off on me soon.
I
It's
would have been
fine.
going. I'm gonna still go off because it's still like, I know you lying. I know you didn't just say this on TV.
Girl.
And the one girl who's like, I want to get married to the guy, and there was like, well, what do you like about him? She's like, well, I don't know.
What?
Remember that girl?
Yes.
I think it's
If you
the
can't even
biracial girl.
you can't even vocalize. I think that's Zay and Tay.
Yeah.
They the ones with the rhyming names.
Mm-hmm.
Girl,
She can't even say why.
a disaster. A disaster. So yeah, we'll be still watching the ultimatum and checking in on that. Maybe we'll do
Mm-hmm.
like a reality and wine special or something on that. But yeah, hot ass mess, train wreck. But very entertaining. Very,
Yeah,
very
10 out of 10
entertaining.
do recommend.
Do
I do
recommend.
think it's entertaining. Yeah, for
Yep,
sure.
exactly. All right, guys. So before we wrap up this episode, we have some really exciting things to announce. First things first is, as of June the 1st, we are changing the pricing for our $10 tier of our Patreon. That will be moving up to $15. If you already are subscribed to that tier, no worries. You will be grandfathered in and you will still pay the $10 that you were paying before, until you leave or cancel or whatever the situation is. You'll be paying that for the remainder of the time that you are on the tier. But yeah, we are making that change to that tier in particular, and also to our $25 tier that will be going up to $30. So same thing with that. If you stay with it, whatever you're paying now, you will still be grandfathered in and still be paying that. But that is just for anybody who joins the Patreon after June. We'll be paying $15 for that second tier, and then $30 for the top tier. So yeah, we just wanted to be very transparent and just let you guys know about some upcoming changes to that. And just in just a second, we'll be talking about why we're making those changes. Myra, did you have anything else to say about the pricing change?
Yeah, so pretty much between now and June 1st, if you do want to hop on, you can hop on at the
Current.
prices, the
Mm-hmm.
current prices. Yeah, that's the word, current. That you can hop in on those prices now. So definitely highly recommend taking advantage of that, because like Meg said, if you hop in at that price, you are going to stay at that price basically until you drop off
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So definitely take advantage of that. For those of you who are already on Patreon, nothing will change for you. What you are paying right now is what you're going to continue to pay unless
Yes.
you drop off. So
Or you
yeah,
change
definitely.
tiers, upgrade,
Yeah,
downgrade, anything
upgrade.
like that.
Yeah, anything
Yeah.
like that. So if you don't do nothing, you paying what you paying, you're getting exactly what you're getting. And honestly, plus more after we talk about that.
Yes.
But yeah, so yeah, definitely take advantage. If you have been thinking about it, this month is the month to go ahead and do that.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And there, so just to say, there's no changes coming to the $5 tier at all. That will
Mhm.
continue to be $5, but just changes to the exclusive Patreon and the VIP Patreon tier. And right now that I'm looking, we only have 8 slots left on the VIP tier. We may open up some additional slots on that tier. Not 100% sure yet, but if you're interested, now is definitely the time to hop on while it's a little less and while there are still some slots available.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
we say all that to say we are going to be introducing a new Patreon exclusive show. So we are going to start off with this show being every other month, and depending on capacity and availability of our guests, we will potentially do it monthly. But for right now, we're just
Mm-hmm.
going to do it every month, and you're going to get your very first episode in this month of May. And this show, we'll give you more details about the in particular show in a second, but this show is only going to be available to that exclusive Patreon tier and the VIP tier. So it will not be available to the $5 tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing is changing at all to the $5 tier. So therefore, monetary, nothing is changing there.
Mm-hmm.
So, if that works for you, that works for you. But the other two tiers will be getting this additional show every
Mm-hmm.
other month. And for those of y'all who are already on our VIP tier, we're trying to drop the shots episode on on the months we don't have meetups. So
Mm-hmm.
for example, we had a meetup in April, so
So the
therefore you're
episode
getting the
coming out in
shop
May.
episode in May,
Yep.
and
And
we'll do
Myra
that
just announced
until
the
we figure it out.
name.
Oh, I
Myra,
did. I thought you
yeah.
said it already.
I hadn't said it yet. It's fine
Oh
though.
shit.
So this new show, it will be called Shots with Meg and Myra. So this
Mm-hmm.
is basically just like a condensed version of what we do on Planners and Wine with our guests, except for instead of doing like an interview style Q&A type of thing that we do on the regular show, this will just be where we have a guest and we will take a deep dive into a particular topic with
Mm-hmm.
that guest, and we'll all just share our thoughts. And we are so excited about this show. Our very first guest on this show is our amazing friend Julie. We talked to her all about toxicity in the planner community. She answered the question for us: is the planner community toxic? We talked about how is toxic, ways that we could try to make it not so toxic, and we just kind of dive deeper into that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're super excited about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see where it goes, and let us know your feedback. If you are on the Patreon, definitely comment on it. Let us know, because that is going to let us know if we should, up it, or up it as far as like do it monthly. I don't know if we can do more than that right now. This ain't the full-time job, y'all.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I think it's gonna be really good. It's literally like Meg said, it's literally gonna be as if we are, just chatting, having a shot with our guests, and
unfiltered.
It's gonna be unfiltered.
Yeah,
a real quick short episode. We're trying to keep it between 30-40 minutes, so it's not a full-blown Planners and Wine episode, but just a shot.
Just a shot. Absolutely. Yeah. Shots with a lot of our faves. So, and also, if you have any suggestions for people in the community that you would love to hear on the show, or any topics you would want us to talk about on it, let us know. And we will definitely keep that in mind for future episodes. So, without further ado, we're going to end this episode with something we have never done before. We'll end this episode with a little preview of our very first episode of Shots with Meg and Myra. So, we hope you guys enjoy, and thank you all so much for listening. As always, we love you guys and we appreciate you guys' support so much.
Yes, guys. Yeah. So enjoy, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye, guys.